Hello everyone, Action Johnny aka Daniel back again with some more L5R content. So I just played my LCQ top 32 game against Szuturon. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Uh, Whoever this chap is right here. Yeah, Szuturon. Um, I was on my Crab Unicorn deck, and Zeraton was on his Crane Scorpion. Yeah, I'm just going to be playing the game, which I recorded, and commentating over it, just with a bit of commentary of how I think the game went, what I could learn from it. You know, did I miss anything? I'm sort of making these videos at the minute. Yeah, half are sort of providing content for the channel, half to help me become better at the game. So these are the lists that we were both on. I'll provide links to these in the blurb section below the video. His deck is, well, the province lineup's pretty conventional. Nothing unusual really in the dynasty. Got a very nasty, weird conflict deck, so no attachments whatsoever. He's really getting the most out of Test of Skill and Yoshi's ability. He also has no bumps or buffs, but he has got loads of nasty cards, especially calling in favors at the wrong time can just absolutely kill you. Anyway, that's his list. This is the one I'm on, same as last time. Super duper standard crab list. Shuichi's a 1 in this meta, just because he's a great character and I don't want to cut him. But he's also very susceptible to fate worse than death, so I'm not going in hard. Also, the intimidating key does take a couple of slots where he used to be, so lowering the curve a bit. And of course, their reaction can help as well. Conflict deck super standard. I've got a couple of copies of Gaijin Customs. Yeah, it's a pretty good event. I don't like that it's one cost, and I don't like it's hard to turn on. I think in retrospect, you play 2 Wayfinders, 1 Customs, and 2 Talisman. I think that's the correct balance there. But it is decent. It is decent. The rest is pretty standard. I'm on 2 Way of the Crab just because I don't really have enough space for the third. And yeah, having all 3 in hand can suck sometimes as well. Fine katanas instead of banzais just because characters stick around longer, and really that's all there is to that. So let's get cracking. Right. So I'll just skip ahead a bit. I believe there's some chit chat on. Oh, now we'll do the mulligans first. Cool, so that's what I'm mulligan into, which is okay. Now, alright, yeah, before we start, he starts going on about some issue with Jigoku and Artisan Academy, so we'll just skip this. Right, so he mulligans his Dynasty, and then I draw into my conflict, and I'm basically, that's a really good starting hand versus Crane, I feel, especially because I know I've got Casada on the row, so that charge is going to be impactful. Court games, if I want to go with Satoshi Fan, it's always handy versus Crane, and, Assassinate as well. And then he flips Asami, Daijoji Narishima, Imperial Palace, and Kakita Yoshi. It's just like, what are you going to do? Before the game's even begun, like, the Crane high roll is being threatened. I've either got to try and take out the province of Yoshi or the one with the Imperial Palace, both of which probably not going to be easy. I buy the Guardian, which is probably a mistake here. I feel like having two Fate would maybe have been better. I don't know though. It's difficult to say. Anyway, I draw 5, and yeah, I mean, if I just held out that extra Fate, I could have equipped like a Watch Commander or a Spyglass and Gaijin Customs or Charge. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe getting the Guardian was the right choice. He's not doing anything this turn, which sucks. And then he uses Daijoji Norishima's ability to flip a fucking second copy of Yoshi up. And now I'm just thinking, I'm fucked. I've got a defensive character, and my only hope of breaking that, basically, of the only hope I have of him not procuring the favor is if I can break the province of Imperial Palace off. And the only way I can do that is with Charge Quesada. And that is not a particularly reliable plan when he's got 9 cards in hand. And I'm also first player, which is not great. So here's what I do. Military Earth with the Ween onto that province of the Imperial Palace. It's got to be, I've got to use the Assassinate to get rid of Narishima. If I'd saved a Fate as well, I could have potentially used the Skirmisher. I'm not sure how much impact that would have had. I flip Manicured Garden, so he gets even more Fate, taking him to 9 Fate. So not only does he have the Imperial Palace and double Yoshi, he actually has the means to play both Yoshi and Asami next turn if he decides to keep her, which I imagine he probably will. Right, so I promptly assassinate Narishima. And he charges in one of his copies of Yoshi. At which point I'm pretty sure I just charge Quesada in for fear of the inevitable policy debate. So I am breaking, but any kind of reduction in my strength or bump in his will stop that and scupper my chances of winning the game. And there's policy debate there. Yeah, that was super obviously going to happen. Yeah, he now knows my entire hand. If he's clever, he takes the Spyglass because that's the best card. And indeed, he does take a Spyglass. And now, he can pretty much do whatever he wants to stop me winning the old conflict here. So my fate is to be bowed with for shame steward combo. When I look at things, and he pops. Yeah, there it is. He bows Quesada, which is a real bummer. My conflict does not work. And now I'm thinking, well, this has gone pretty fucking swimmingly for him. The only thing that could make it worse is if he's got one of those goddamn political rivals in hand and stealths my Borderlands defender, and lo and behold, that's exactly what he has. And then I think, Christ, I didn't look at which province was under Satoshi. I should probably check. And then I sort of twig and think, it's probably Shameful Display. And he's almost certainly going to go for whatever province that is, because Satoshi's on there. And sure enough, Satoshi is indeed sat on top of Shameful Display. So, yeah, I sit there relatively helplessly as my Borderlands defender gets coverted. He goes straight for the province of Szuturon, which is Shameful Display, with a Void Ring. And for the second game in a row, turn 1 breaks my Shameful Display. And I lose Satoshi as well, which is a huge blow because he's a very important character in this matchup. Oh, if only I'd gotten to go second, I could have just played Satoshi. No, there's no point thinking if onlys. I basically did not have any luck in this game at all. I did not have any luck. And I made that comment right in the chat there. Well, that was a truly awful first turn. And he's obviously okay with the outcome. Of course he is. So now he is sat on a big fat political rival. He's sat on the favour with Yoshi and the Imperial Palace. And he just obviously plays Yoshi of 2. I play an Envoy. And then he passes. And I think I basically just resolve myself to buy a Borderlands defender, which isn't great. I've noticed this issue on Jigoku. It tends to sort of clump triplets of certain cards near the top and bottom of the deck. I'm not quite sure why. I'm pretty sure, yeah, so in the last game I had all 3 Witch Hunters at the top of my dynasty. And in this game I think the same thing happens with Borderland defenders. Anyway, I dropped my bid to a 1 because I'm thinking I got to try and like play to an out in this game. Maybe I should have bid more there. Maybe that was a bit too sort of aggressive. I should have just bid 2. But yeah, I know. I remember. I just assassinated, so my honor was low, and I wanted to top up as well. And I currently have a card lead, but I imagine that won't last for long. Ugh, and there's Where the Crane, straight on Yoshi, who is now a 5/9 beat stick. So yeah, this is going the exact way you don't want a game versus Crane to go. The Crane high roll is live. He starts the turn by doing very much what he did last turn, coverting my Borderlands defender. This time I've got a character to defend with, so I do that. I defend with the Borderlands defender, and I just think, fuck this shit. I gotta put a watch commander straight on here and just try and see if I can get him to squeak out some cards. Right, so he passes, and then I'm pretty sure I attempt to honour the Borderlands defender, and just try and turn off his voice of honor. Or just try and beta cancel or something. Right, actually, I totally remember. Yeah. So my thinking here is I've just put Watch Commander. I've spent my only fate to put a Watch Commander on Borderlands Defender. I've got to like try and get some use out of it. So I start by trying to honor my defender, and then I put a fan on her to bump up her political. So you can probably guess what's going to happen now. And that is I attempt to policy debate the rival, which gets cancelled. So he spent 2 cancels and lost 2 honor in this conflict, which is pretty good. It's pretty good for me. So yeah, just whittling down the honor a bit, just trying to get towards some kind of out. Problem is now I'm dangerously low on cards, and I've got no money left either. And really, he's a conflict away from just triggering Yoshi. So I am winning this conflict to defend the wall, so it means that I'm triggering the watering and bowing the steward, which is handy because that stops any risk of a nasty for shame combo unless he's got another steward in hand. But he's down to 4 cards now at the current minute in time. So I've got to make a conflict here, I think. I've got to get that Yoshi bowed. So I threaten Void in an attempt to move the rival. I could have taken the fate off the firing, I suppose. Who knows? And of course, I march head first into shameful display. He doesn't defend the conflict though, for some weird reason. I guess he wants to use Yoshi. So he just assassinates the envoy, taking him down to 4 honor. Whew. And bang, in goes the skirmisher with the fate I just drew. I win the Void Ring, I get rid of that rival, and I take him down to 3 honor unopposed. So that actually went okay. And the best thing is he didn't get to trick a shameful either. But now I've got a fucking honored Yoshi coming back at me here. Realistically, I wonder if I should have done the airing instead of the voiding there. I do wonder if I should have done that. If that would have been the correct line of play, just really aggressively pursue dishonor. Because then he'd be on 2 honor now. And he'd be swinging back and he'd have to be going for the firing. Because otherwise he loses the game, right? But instead, I don't do that, and he swings back at it. Now, I've got absolutely no way of winning this conflict. So I can either stop the break and defend it, or I can just let it go and swing back at shameful with my Borderlands defender and just see if I can break politically. Oh, and this is a really hard choice. Lose 2 honor in a province, but get a ring trigger back. Or or just try and minimize harm by blocking, so I just lose 1 honor, or he goes up to 5. He goes up to 5, I probably lose just because of his ability to draw cards at that point. So I think what I opt to do is just let it go unopposed. He breaks defend the wall, and he steals an honor rather than gaining 2, which is interesting. Because I was assuming he was going to take the 2 honor there, but no, he doesn't do that. So I'm thinking, like, is your strategy to dishonor me? Is this your game? Anyway, I use my defender to do a second conflict and attack Shameful Display. He dishonors my Borderlands defender with court games, which is a bummer, but I guess we had to expect that Yoshi was going to draw something for him. So I'm not breaking Shameful now, but it is unopposed, and I do opt to dishonor the political rival. And the reason I do that is so I can then play the reprieve on the Borderlands defender that's dishonored, without worrying about calling in favors being put on the rival. Now, it would suck if he had calling in favors and put it on the stewards. I mean, it's not much better, but that takes him down to 2 dishonored characters. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not very hype as well. But yeah, his character, his rival leaves play. My defender says I've got a board, but I'm still like way behind in provinces, money, and hand, so it's not great. I'm sort of like clinging to the vain hope of Watch Commander now. Yeah, which is going to be a real tough sell. But it's doable, I've got a chance. Annoyingly, Asami's on his provinces there. Yeah, you see, oh man, Asami is gonna do some work. I really just wish I had a Way of the Crab in hand right now. I really wish I had a Way of the Crab. Having said that, I guess he just gets the Whisperer. What do I do? Do I buy I think I just buy the 3rd Borderlands Defender with a Fate. Like, my hand is pretty garbage at the minute. I'm drawing 1 card. I basically just need enough Fate to play Mountain Does Not Fall. On the plus side, yeah, I'm probably going to get Passing Fate as well, because I can't imagine he's not going to spend. I imagine he probably just buys his row out this turn. He's got Yoshi, which is basically also an economy advantage. Shit, I take a gamble and I buy a Borderlands Defender with 2 Fate. He gets Cautious Scout with a Fate, and I pass, and I get the Passing Fate. So I do have enough Fate to play Mountain. And he does, of course, buy Kikita Asami with 2. We're down at the 1 bids now. I do top deck a 2nd Watch Commander, which is lovely. But annoyingly, unless I can get him to play a card somehow, I don't think that airing wins it for me. And he just plays a 2nd Way of the Crane, turning Asami into another beat stick. So yeah, his board is good right now. His board is very good. That second way of the crane is a real bitch. I think I opt to do a conflict here, which is probably a mistake. I do military void. Should probably have sent in the Guardian. Should probably have sent in the Guardian. What does he do? Oh yeah, no, I remember. Pretty sure he just uses the Whisperer to chump block and for shame me. So you can see that call going from last turn, really biting me in the ass. I do find meditations, which is good. That's a decent flip for me. But you know, he's about to get another 3 cards this turn. 8 cards to my 3. He can just sort of wait to play them. If he's clever, he'll just like play his cards in the conflict. I can't get a Watch Commander in. What I should have done is attach the Watch Commander to the Borderlands Defender. No, what I probably should have done was do a political conflict with the Borderlands Defender that has attachments on it and the Guardian, the one with the Imperial Palace on it. And just seen if I could get him to play a card. Oh, God. Either way, there's no great options at this point. I do the military void. He flips meditations, which I can't trigger because of the scout's ability. I'm thinking on 1 defender, 2 defender because of mountain. Yeah, so I do that. I do mountain, and that's the first thing I do. He passes. He doesn't do anything. Don't like doing mountain on a turn where I'm first. It's pretty low impact. But nevertheless, needs must. No way of triggering that customs. Yeah. So then I have to pass my second conflict, really. Maybe I should have... No. If I do political, he just triggers Asami's ability. I guess I could try and take air. But at that point, I'm probably losing the dishonor victory condition. I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, it's looking bleak. So I imagine he's doing air here. And he's really having a think about which province he wants to attack. Which to me is kind of a no-brainer. Like, he has to know what that 4th province is. He's seen 3 of them, you know. He knows I'm running Defend the Wall, so I'm not going to have an Earth province on my stronghold. So that means it's either going to be the Water province or the Air province on my stronghold. And who runs Air provinces on their stronghold? So I don't really know what his thinking is here when he's attacking Meditations of the Tau, which is going to mean I can clear Yoshi off the board, which is some good news. But not before that Yoshi has drawn him, what is this, 6 cards at this point. So he's got 6 cards on me. I put the Watch Commander on the Borderlands Defender, which is maybe a mistake. I don't know. Because he doesn't actually need to play any cards here to win the conflict. And I bungle my maths and realise that I am 1 strength short of being able to actually win this conflict, which is bad news. So even if I do the Guardian's ability, it's not doing jack shit this time. Sad times. I do wonder if I should have preemptively put the Watch Commander on the Heater Guardian. Would that have made a difference? Yeah, it would have. He doesn't win the airing. I do. He stays at 3 honor, or he's forced to play cards. And yeah, puts me in a slightly better. So tough. You know, you're just working with so little in this situation. I was just trying to be, I think, efficient with my resources. I was like, yeah, I could put the Watch Commander on the Guardian. You know, it's got more fate on it. It will stick around longer. That was kind of like autopilot thinking there. So little small misplays like that, you know, that really do cost you. I should have done my maths thoroughly before that phase. You know, I wouldn't have been able to account for things like fans in his hand or anything like that. And also, if I had played out the Watch Commander on the Guardian, maybe he would have just played out more cards before the conflict or held something back. Who knows? Anyway, we're into turn 4 of this wretched game. He's now got an honor lead on me, so I'm the one who's in danger of getting dishonored out. I've got no cards to play at this point. My hand is dead. So I just buy my whole dynasty. I just think, fuck this. Maybe I can desperately try and pull something out of the bag. And desperate it indeed is, as he is basically 1 air conflict with Hataro and Asami away from winning the game. And Lord forbid if he has another Way of the Crane, because that, you know, creates a potentially insurmountable task there. Oh, so it's looking really bad for me at this point. He does military water with the scout. He does it at Fertile Fields. So I guess he really wanted to see what that last province was. Don't know why he didn't just attack Meditations. I defend. God, I think I ham this as well. I think I over defend this, worrying about Banzai. I can't really afford to have any one of my board bowed by water. So I put in the Guardian as well, which is perhaps a mistake. Should probably have put in the Vanguard Warrior. Then just pass my conflict. Uh, and instead of passing my conflicts like I probably should, I decide to go military fire into meditations. I don't know why I did this. Absolutely pointless. Just gives him an opportunity to win another conflict with his mammoth hand there. And just get another honoured character at the board, thus taking me even further away from my only out. Poor playing. Should have passed the fuck out of that. And of course, it then gives him the chance to policy debate. Not that that's really doing a whole bunch at this point. I'm just probably losing my skirmisher, which doesn't even allow me to win the conflict. So all in all, a thoroughly pointless conflict there. Did not need to do that. And it's just another defender for the one conflict that matters gone. So yeah, at this point, you know, fucking really shit about all these little misplays I've made, because I'm basically just sealing myself out of the game. And is that the third? Yeah, that is the third Way of the Crane. So all three Way of the Cranes in his top 20 complex, and that's on Hataru. And because of the way I've handled this turn, I am basically screwed now. I don't have enough political skill to stop Asami from triggering or winning the conflict. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. So he attacks into fertile fields, which is probably a mistake. He should probably have attacked meditations there because he knows my hand and he knows he wins the game. Just unless I get some miraculous top deck from my Yusuke. So the first thing I do is bump. And the first thing he does is take an honor. So I'm down at 2 honor now. I bungle my sequences for getting his deck list, and I draw Mounted Does Not Fall from the fertile field, which doesn't help me right now. What I should have done in retrospect was look at the Yasuki, but at this point I think it's pretty much, I'm flying on a prayer here. And there's Outwit, which I completely forgot was in his deck list, despite having seen it. He loses 1 honor for that, thanks to Watch Commander, but that means fuck all at this point. Oh, goodness. And that is the game. I am well and truly out of options. So I concede as he gets dishonor from double airing tap. All in all, a pretty miserable game. I don't know if those little misplays at the end contributed much anyway. Like, he was in such a good position all game that, yeah, it's hard for me. And, just it would have been 2 honor was just that a little bit too much. If he'd been on 1, I might have been able to just throw everything in on an airing, but, just didn't quite have what it took. That's a shame. That's a shame. But hey, we live and you learn. There are lessons in defeat. I think the lesson I can take away from this one is always do the maths. Always do the maths. Count. Even if you're only working with what's visible. I should have been like, oh, I stop his box going off if I use Watch Commander on my Guardian and then instantly use my box in defensive challenge because that makes him 3. And then, it just gives me a better chance of winning that conflict and potentially making some kind of comeback. But yeah, I don't know. Hard game, that. Hard game. Sometimes Crane just blow you out, Lion can do it, Crane can do it. It's part of the game. It sucks when it happens. You feel pretty helpless, but that is cards at the end of the day. There will always be games in cards where someone has superfluous straw and someone else doesn't, you know. But hey, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Like and comment, blah blah, all that shite. And yeah, I'll be back soon with more games. Games.